Everybody was Christmas shopping. In the realm of holiday specials, there is no animation studio that handles them quite like DreamWorks. While other studios have thrown their hat into the ring, DreamWorks goes the extra mile through the vast library of specials and their efforts matching their theatrical counterparts with film quality animation and the star-studded voice cast returning to reprise their roles. Signs of quality that hopefully will never fade away. And while I could review any of these DreamWorks specials, I'm choosing the one with Mr. Ping. From the director of Over the Hedge and Home Comes Kung Fu Panda Holiday! A Christmas special that debuted on November 24th, 2010 on NBC, and that's it. I couldn't find any deep history behind the creation of this special. If I had to guess, I bet some suits in the board over at NBC demanded that DreamWorks make them something to air over the holiday season, and the filmmakers just whipped this up. So, is it just a generic holiday time waster, or is there something more to this special? Let me repeat myself. The one with Mr. Ping. I'm pretty sure that answers your question. You're watching The LionDog Show, and I'm watching Kung Fu Panda Holiday. The special kicks off in a similar vein to the original movie, with a hand-drawn dream sequence involving Po and Mr. Ping acting out what every social media user thinks a Studio Ghibli movie is like before Mr. Ping reveals that it's actually the noodle dream mentioned in the original film, which is cool to see considering how iconic it is. The cooking then gets cut short by the presence of Tai Lung, who Po then abandons his father to face. Insert joke about how Tai Lung is better utilized in this short dream sequence than the entirety of Kung Fu Panda 4 here. Mr. Ping then wakes up to find Po in his room, who he then chastises for leaving him. Aw, he's suffering from empty nest syndrome. Literally. After one of the most underwhelming title cards I have ever seen, like seriously, I think the Bad Guys Haunted Heist one might be better than this. We see Po and Mr. Ping pulling out the decorations for the Winter Festival.
I love Winter Festival so much, sometimes I just can't wait.
Yeah, Mr. Ping definitely seems like the type to put up his Christmas tree in September. Speaking of Ping's celebratory nature, he wears a red suit throughout this special. Doozy under the Santa Claus. As they get started, Master Shifu arrives to bestow Po with the honor of hosting a winter feast with China's best in Kung Fu attending.
As the Dragon Warrior, this is one of your most critical duties.
Yeah, that makes sense. Huawei likely wrote that detail down on the Dragon Scroll.
It's blank.
While Po assists the Furious Five in fighting some bandits, the group gives him a rundown on what it takes to host the feast, and we, the audience, get the sickest transition in holiday history. As Shifu and Po start to work on the preparation, Shifu breaks the news that Po won't be able to invite his father, and essentially tells him to put Kung Fu over his family, and Po listens to him. Good call, Po. You should totally listen to family advice from the father of... Speaking of Tai Lung, Po at this moment is holding count 'em, 3 Dragon Scrolls. I'm pretty sure he would have liked to know about those. Also, Shifu hired this painter for the feast, and based on the first thing that he draws, I wouldn't be surprised if he hired him off DeviantArt. While Po goes through the audition process to find a chef to cook for the feast, he decides to essentially rig the process by rejecting all the chefs and giving the position to his dad. Who knew Mr. Ping was such a nepo daddy? Also, what is this pig doing during the audition? What, do they usually serve pork at the event? However, when Po offers the role of chef to Mr. Ping alongside the golden ladle, he just turns it down to serve his guests during the Winter Festival. Okay, I am the biggest Mr. Ping fan that you'll ever meet, but why couldn't he at the very least call in a favor from a fellow chef to cook for the feast? He is well aware that Po doesn't have a chef. It seems kinda scummy to leave him in the lurch like that. Fortunately, Mr. Ping does the next best thing by giving his son his favorite lantern for Po to remember him over the holidays. Absolute saint. It's crazy how my two favorite characters in the franchise couldn't be more different. Without a chef, Po then starts the cooking process when he runs into this bunny from earlier voiced by Jack McBrayer, who Po essentially flipped off during the audition process by accident. Wohop is one of the highlights of this special. Dude straight up tries to delete his save file just to restore honor to his entire village later on. He is nothing if not dedicated.
What's that? I think it's your honor.
Where? If you could start dicing those carrots...
Whoa there, buddy. You did not just ask a bunny to dice carrots of all vegetables.
That is a vicious stereotype.
This leads us to a pretty creative montage showcasing Po's grueling process of juggling all his responsibilities when preparing for the feast, and while I've always seen this frame from it around online, it's even funnier in the full context. As Po sulks about how he ruined Christmas and how Santa's not coming to Danville, Wohop indirectly gives him the idea of enlisting the Furious Five to use their kung fu skills to speed along the preparations. Yes, more of that characters using their unique skills to pull off a seemingly impossible task trope from Oz the Great and Powerful. Love to see it, love to see it! It's also during this montage that we see Wohop trying to boil himself in a pot because Kung Fu Panda 4 had no original ideas whatsoever. Just as it looks like everything is set for the feast to begin, Po notices that someone got ground jasmine instead of flake. What is this, amateur hour? So Po heads into the village after confronting his mortal enemy and recreating that one scene from The Toy That Saved Christmas. While in the village, for the first time since he started preparing for the winter feast, Po stops and basks in the holiday fever, and even sucks his poor innocent family through the window like that one Christmas movie starring Catcher Glinksley. Hey Disney, care to explain why you casted the married couple to voice siblings? During the actual feast itself, Po just refuses to abandon his own father during the winter festival, so he gives a rousing speech about the true meaning of Life Day before hightailing it back down the stairs to spend the holidays with his father. 2 trips up and down the stairs? Po's really getting his steps in today. Po's speech then stirs fond memories amongst the other warriors, including Tigress discussing the traditional folk dances. What folk dances? You spent your childhood locked in an orphanage and the rest of your life training under Shifu. When did you ever get to enjoy the holidays?
Somebody do something.
Back at Mr. Ping's shop, he and Po make up.
I'm sorry I made you feel so guilty.
Nah, don't be. That's what the holidays are all about.
Making you feel guilty? So the two work together to make noodles in a scene with honestly more action than any of the kung fu scenes in this special, and the Furious Five then arrive to steal some poor people's orders. Po then gives Wohop the golden ladle and tells him that if he ever loses it, just charge his swords of destiny and it will come right back to him. Shifu finally arrives to discover an absolutely wholesome sight of the warriors enjoying the company with the common folk, including Master Rhino, who will hopefully live a long, prosperous life. And after some convincing by Po, he finally joins the festivities where we get a look at Shifu Vision. And they all lived happily ever after until you remember that Aquafina Fox is obligated to host the next winter festival. So, those are my thoughts on Kung Fu Panda Holiday. It's kind of insane that this one special has more effort put into it than a lot of DreamWorks' theatrical productions. I think that the aspect of this special that stands out to me the most would be its surprisingly relevant themes. I don't know if this is a recent issue surrounding the holidays or just another aspect of maturing, but it feels like the holidays have gone from a hotly anticipated day to a deadline. It's no longer about the joy of the season or spending time with friends or family. It's more about finishing your shopping list, putting up your decorations, watching every special that you always watch every year, finishing that Christmas video, need I go on? This special flawlessly captures that stress and reminds people that traditions don't matter nearly as much as the reason we do them. And it makes for a refreshingly down-to-earth conflict when compared to the rest of this franchise. There's no unhinged warrior bent on destroying China. Heck, the only true kung fu scene in this special only serves as an excuse for exposition. It gives the characters an opportunity to be seen in a casual, everyday light that you never see in the movies. Of course, the highlight of this special's cast is obviously Mr. Ping, and this special reminds me of why he is such a great father. I love how he remains supportive of Po despite the distance that being Dragon Warrior has put between them. It's so easy for him to be jealous or the type of animated father who has trouble believing in his son's dreams, but throughout the series, he is always there to support Po, and this special is no exception. He puts aside his own want to have his son over for the holidays because he wants him to do his best as the Dragon Warrior, even sacrificing his most cherished decoration for Po to celebrate without him. Mr. Ping is truly the most wholesome character in animation. Outside Ping, you got Wohop, who, with his limited screen time, fits right in with the rest of the group, and Jack McBrayer does an excellent job bringing him to life. Also, Zeng from the first movie makes a brief appearance in this special, which I find funny since he never appears in any of the sequels. As for the Furious Five, yeah, they're once again given little to do. I get that they already had a whole special dedicated to them in a second one a few years after this, but I wish they did more in this special. At least give Tigress a subplot where Po helps her enjoy the holidays or something. She does seem a little white bread in this special. Outside of that, every character is on point, and while it likely wouldn't sustain an entire movie, there is something to be said about watching these characters who normally go on these big adventures just deal with everyday situations that helps you relate to them even more and grow attached to them them and their world a lot better. Now, something that helps the low-stakes story feel more genuine is its presentation. Unlike the Bad Guys specials, which lose a lot of their authenticity from the obviously cheaper production, Kung Fu Panda Holiday looks just as good as the original movie. While you can notice some cheaper quality in the forms of the hand-drawn visuals looking a little stilted, the reused models for extras and props, and David Cross's audio quality of
I have no idea.
that sounds almost as bad as my audio, I don't think the average viewer would pick up on most of those unless they directly compared it to the film's presentation. Overall, if you're a DreamWorks fan looking for another holiday special to add to your rotation, this is an easy recommendation. It only clocks in about 25 minutes, so you can effortlessly slip it in between viewings of Elf on TBS. You've been watching The LionDog Show, have a great day, and stick around for more.